My name is Caoimhín Gaffney. I'm an artist, a filmmaker and writer from Dublin. I work across film, photography and writing, and the writing can be printed text pieces or neon pieces, and I write the scripts for my film as well. But in TULCA I'm showing some medium format film and some printed text pieces. One of the main pieces is a series of 3 photographs, and they're framed on either side by a text that sort of recontextualizes the images, and it's about the environment offering a healing through hallucinogenics, through like magic mushrooms that can alter the neural pathways in your brain. But the idea of it is that the images look natural in a way, but they're actually all very controlled images of nature. There's images of like kind of like monoplanted like fir trees, a chestnut tree that's not native, and then an apple tree that's like a cultivated form. So what I wanted to be is like that our experience of nature is often much more managed and controlled than we think it is. So there's like a back and forth in the work of this tension between what the narrator or the speaker in the text wants from the environment and what they're getting from it, what they need, and what's like being kind of withheld or not actually accessible anymore. So there's like a tension between loss and kind of abundance, and there's like this underpinning of climate anxiety going through all of the work. These pieces are part of a much bigger body of work, and the whole body of work is called All at Once Collapsing Together. And it's essentially looking at the environment, but how like individuals or how we personally relate to the environment, and using that like emotional connection as a way to discuss the impacts of the climate crisis. So instead of focusing on maybe like a more doom, or like the kind of doom of how bad the biodiversity crisis is, it's trying to focus on why it matters to the individual, and what like different sounds at different times of the year mean to our sense of place and our sense of self. And I'm also interested in the idea of looking at the climate crisis across time. So because we're here for such a short amount of time, it's hard for us to grasp our impact on the environment across a lifetime. So a lot of the images are like either zooming out or zooming in, and the narratives are going from very big to like super close up like sensations, from kind of, I guess, overarching narratives into like microscopic sort of discussions. So yeah, it's like it's really about feelings in relation to the environment and the climate crisis, and how they are kind of not resolvable with each other. This feeling of anxiety about the climate crisis mixed with like a kind of appreciation and for the environment, and that there's this sort of like underlying kind of uncertainty and unsettledness that also affects your sense of self and sense of place. What I kind of was trying to do with the photography was that it would feel like quite quiet and like out of place and out of time, so that it didn't feel like a particular season or a particular location, even though it's all shot in Ireland, that it would feel a bit like it's in between spaces, and that maybe you could dip into that in between space. But that really I would like people with the writing to engage with the emotions in the text. There is like vulnerability and kind of there's sort of like fear and anxiety, and there's also the idea of trauma being cyclical, and the idea that that like it's referencing the cycles of nature, but that trauma can interrupt more natural cycles, and then nature is in crisis as well. So that's a form of interruption of regular patterns. So I'd like people to just, I suppose, like if they can engage with the feelings in the work, and then the photography hopefully will be more of a reflective space to either like bounce off or interrupt the text pieces. That's my like ultimate aim for how people would hopefully interact with it. I think as an artist being part of such a big festival and working with Beulah as the curator, it's interesting to see it through her eyes and to see what she picks and how she kind of places them together in ways that I didn't necessarily expect, and it brings out like new connections in the work for myself, but also seeing it in connection with the other artists' work and how they're thinking about things. I think it kind of makes you look, kind of re-examine what you're doing and see it in a different context. But I think it's also like a really good opportunity for the work to meet more people, and like you spend so long developing it and so long experimenting and so long trying to find this like form that fits the idea, that it's really nice that so many people see it and so many people can kind of engage with it. But in a way that also feels different for me, that it feels new for me as well.